exciting time.
Let's continue the property conversation now. And Azizi is one of the leading real estate developers right here in the UAE. So how is it dealing with the ongoing issues of oversupply and slumping prices? Yusuf asked the CEO, Farhad Azizi.
The situation with Dubai property is dire. The data tells a very powerful story. Give me a sense of when this market bottoms out.
Well, it's definitely a buyer's market, so I agree with you. It's not the best time for developers when it comes to their margins or the challenges when it comes to selling the property. There are challenges, but then every developer like ourselves have to adjust to the situation. So being dynamic is very important, and that's what we've been quite busy with. But it's definitely a good time to buy for buyers. So the market has there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of good properties. There's, the private developers doing their thing. Then there's the semi-private government-backed developers. So it's a very it's pretty dynamic. But I would definitely say it's better than last year.
I mean, I would challenge you on that. Maybe in certain parts of Dubai or certain parts of the UAE.
Certain locations, projects, yes.
Possibly. But the other issue is the bottoming out part. So there might be a slight improvement, but when does the real recovery happen? I've had a few conversations with some of the big private developers, and I've been told quite clearly that this could last until after the Expo, by 2 to 3 years, until you see a real turnaround because of the amount of properties that are coming online.
Yeah, that's true to a certain extent. I'm talking about our numbers, like hardcore statistical numbers. Okay. If I would compare last year August to this year August, things are better this year August. Although summers, August, schools are off, it's a slower season, but definitely we've had better numbers starting August 2018. So if I would compare month to month to last year, our numbers have been better. But that could be due to a lot of changes we've been bringing within our company, and we want to. We knew for situations like that you have to adjust yourself. So we have restructured a lot of things internally and focused on our projects that would sell, the ones that are more like a high ticket price projects or more high end, luxurious. We put a break on those, and the ones that are more in demand we put on those. So what we did is have a research department that will look at the market, look at the study, see who are the new buyers. If you consider the type of buyers will change, the ruble is not necessarily doing well, the dollar is strong.
Sure.
So all those things play a big role, and the type of buyers nowadays.
I mean, let's get into that. So how are the sales holding up for you? I mean, run me through some numbers and where that's going to go.
So I wouldn't go into the tiniest details, but smaller units in the right location have higher demands. Larger properties, there's still demand, but I have to adjust my prices to the market, adjust my payment plan, give some freebies, furnitures, a guaranteed rate of return. So it's a very challenging market for certain type of properties, but others will sell very well, like our Riviera project in Maidan, where it's close to the city. There's a canal, there's a mall coming up.
Yeah.
It has a higher demand. While our high-end properties on the Palm, for example, the Mina project, it's a more high-end.
Yeah.
There's less demand for that, and that's more. It has a specific type of client.
Okay, that makes sense. So what is your project pipeline? I mean, how much more are you going to bring online, given the weakness of the market? Give me a figure.
Well, it's the whole volume is 45 billion dirhams worth of properties that are within. Some are up already launched, and some are in the pipeline. And the projects. One of the things we did is we went back and to the drawing board and changed some of the things in those projects in the mix of the units, and decided not to launch certain and launch others. So we're scattered throughout Dubai. We're in different locations, and we don't accelerate necessarily in summers. We look at the season right after Cityscape, which is happening in September. Up to all the way February, March is the season. That's when we launch a lot of new projects. So there's new projects coming up, and they're in different parts of Dubai. But we definitely changed things depending on the market situation. We're not launching certain projects which not been in demand for the last 8 months, 6 months, and all that. So those changes had to happen. And in Cityscape we're launching a few good ones. That's adjusted to the market's needs.
There have been allegations in the past about your source of funds. Is there any outstanding litigation today that you still need to deal with?
Oh, we never had a situation like that. the source of fund us into the development business here is very much regulated, controlled by the land department, and they've been doing a super job on that. So the escrow account, and it's been there for the last 10 years. So that's been a big help to fund us or other developers as well. So the whatever sales that happens, and then the owner's equity, where Azizi Development belongs to the Azizi Group, which has the banking business, the development, and the trading business, oil and gas. So the other businesses have been a big support when it comes to the owner's equity, but a bigger chunk comes always from the escrow accounts and the sales, the daily sale that happens.
So where is most of the demand coming from in terms of purchases? I mean, you talk about demand holding up okay.
Yes.
Who are your buyers and where do they come from?
Surprisingly, a lot of our buyers recently have been locals, Emiratis.
Okay.
43% of the whole Riviera project are Emiratis. Saudis, definitely. A lot of the Gulf nations. India, Pakistan, those have a stable demand. One of the new clientele that's increasing month by month, especially with other developers, because we have been putting less concentration on that, is China. There's a lot of Chinese buyers, and they're increasing by numbers on a daily basis. But some of the other clienteles, like we had a lot of Russian buyers, they're less and less now. Okay. And when the pound has been weak, so less British buyers. But the Gulf nations have been doing good. Emiratis, investors, they love a certain type of property, and they've been investing in their own cities.
You said the property portfolio is $45 billion.
Yes.
Right. The next line of thought here would be a potential IPO at some point. Is that something that's crossed your mind? Are you in
It does, yes. Actually, we are a family-owned business, and we've been established since 1989. But going to the next stage, I think that's something eventually, any business that grows to a level where it's a corporate level, and then the IPO is something that we have had many discussions internally, but nothing immediate, 4 years, 5 years down the line. Right now, it's the family. And the good thing is we're a very compact family. It's my dad, myself, and my brother. So
sounds very practical to me.
Up next.